Hi there folks, my name's naval24 and welcome to my first impressions video of the Rise of Venice. So Rise of Venice is a new strategy just released from Calypso, or Game Masters and Calypso Studios, so the studio, or rather the publishing house that brought us Tropico and some other wonderful great simulations over the last few years. Now, this one is a economic simulator set in the Renaissance period, obviously, and funnily enough, as the title suggests, based around Venice. So what we might do is we might go to a quick look, just have a look for some of the options. So it's a pretty reasonably good options. Gives a nice sort of background animations going on there. Alright, so you've got your basic, it is designed as a single player, but there is a multiplayer element in there as well. Not a lot of games going around, because they literally only just come out yesterday. So let's have a look. So your options, just your usual basic ones, so your basic common ones when you look at these kind of resource and management simulations. Controls, definitely something that I'm seeing a lot more of in simulations, so your WASD keys, used for all our first-person players, but they make us come back into strategies as well. I mean, the Wargame series makes a lot of use of it, and one of the key ones is you can increase and accelerate the time, because it does tend to be a little bit boring if you're going to let it run just at one by speed. Graphics, you've got a good few quite your options to scroll through, from your basic single monitors through to these ones here. Now you do have all your details, full screen, VSync, all that kind of fun stuff, sound, all the usual, and your multiplayer. Now your multiplayer is based on the same sort of ID that if you have played the Tropico series, or it uses the same idea for that one. So there you go. Right. So without further ado, oh yeah, sorry, there is the additional content. So obviously there will be some DLC and maybe some signature packs being made available in the future. There was a pre-order bonus for anyone who did pre-order on Steam. They got themselves a bonus ship, so you'd start a single player game with a bonus ship. So what we'll do is we'll jump straight in, I think. So I have played this for a couple of hours just so to get an idea of it. So what we'll do is we'll jump in here. Where are we? Let's jump into this one here. I might just quickly show you, so I'll show you this one here, so it gives you an idea of what it all looks like. And we might show some combat as well a bit later on as well. Alright. So my overall impressions so far have been pretty good. So when you first start the game, you're in Venice, and you can start exploring. Now only some of these cities are known to you. The ones down there through the southern Mediterranean you actually have to discover yourself, and then so you go in and visit the port to actually sort of be able to start building a trade relations. So initially the single player does guide you through the game's basic principles, and does sort of give you an introduction to what it's about, what to do, resource management, stuff like that. But at the core of it, it is a trading game, so it is about you being trying to start and create and develop a trading empire, as it were, throughout the Mediterranean. Historically wise, it is sort of set when as the Ottomans were starting to head in from the east, heading towards the west, and there was a bit of a civil war between all the different principalities within Italy. So with the Venetians having only recently won against the Genovians. So there we go. Alright, now let's have a quick look. So you start, as I said, with your main city. So you can click on it and bring some options, and I'll just zoom in. So if you're looking for a game with high fidelity graphics, guys, yeah, they're good, but it's not something that you're going to write home too much about. But it gives you the basic idea. So you can see your city, and it does develop as you go through. Now you've got various major sort of public buildings that you go through.
A convoy is idle.
Oh, thank you very much for that, advisor. And obviously your main one is going to be your trading. So as your ships go throughout the Mediterranean, they can buy and sell resources. The price is very much a demand-based one, so it goes up and down. So the more you buy, the more expensive it becomes. The more you sell, the less money you're going to get for the sales. Anything with the 4 red means there's nothing there. 4 green, obviously there's an excess of it. Your aim is to sort of look for, if you're buying, look to see if they've got 2 or more green bars, and if you're selling, you want to have them to have none, ideally. The closer they get to these 2 green bars, which means that they're adequate supplies, the less the product's going to be worth. So you can go through. So for example, do I have a fleet here at the moment? Yes, I do. So what you can do is you can trade onto your ships. So let's say I needed to buy some resources here, so let's say I need to buy fruits and lemons. So what I can do is I can buy them here. So I slide up, as you can see, is the more I'm buying, the more expensive it becomes as I'm draining the city's supplies. Now conversely, because I have this is a bit later game, and then if I'm actually selling something, again the same thing, it'll sort of, it will decrease the amount I'm going to get paid for each of the sale items. Now, so initially with Venice, you've got a building permit because it's your home city, and then you can once you build, get a trade agreement with other cities. So when you first bring your ship to another city that you haven't sort of really got a trade agreement with yet, you have to buy a license to be able to sell stuff. You can then upgrade that license to a construction or a sort of like a settlement license, so you can actually start building your own buildings. So that's where it sort of comes in some of the other mechanics as well, where yes, you can buy goods, or you can just make them for a lot less and then sell them. So let's just excuse me folks, if we just jump into this one here, we can see that, so my warehouse, so this is where I've got my little guy who, thanks very much for letting me know I need raw materials. My steward, who will keep an eye on everything that's going through for me, so I can see the production buildings. Now, not every city can produce every item, and some items that they require, these higher end sort of structures, may not be available in that city. You may have to import them from somewhere else. So I can set up some fruit yards, so that'll grow some fruit, which I can then sell in the open market. Now, anything that I grow or produce myself doesn't get sold straight away. I can choose it to be, but it doesn't get sold straight away. It goes into my stock level, so into my warehouse. Now, I can then either manually sell it by doing that trading screen, or I can just have my steward automatically and say, yep, and when it gets to 120%, I want you to automatically sell to that value. So I'm getting a 20% profit over my production cost. You can also, if you want to keep some in reserve, you can also lock some amounts, make sure that some will still stay on board, say in the city, to make sure that nothing actually gets sold. So if you're saving for certain tasks, because some tasks do require certain productions, like for example, if you want to curry favour with the church, what you can do is that you can actually, if you have these resources, you sell them to the church, and that gives you a bonus with the people and with the church. So that's where it sort of spins in some of the parts that I do like. It is more than just a trading simulator. It does sort of go through the politics as well. So if you are looking at going through, wrong button there. If you are looking at, say, to earn it in order to rise through the ranks, so you can see here on councilman, you start as just an entry-level trader, and you sort of work your way up through the ranks. To do that, you need to curry favour with the Senate. You call for a vote, and then they go through that. Now, each of these members, you can actually then go in and do a special mission for them.
My family needs your help.
You can bribe them if you like. So sort of go, yep, just send them a few florins every month, or just give them a large one-time bribe. You can also usually find that there is a passive way to increase their good standing with them, just by building a certain type of building or doing certain activities. From time to time, they will give you a single mission, where you go through and do something particular and just go, yep, just supply such and such city, in this case supply Tripoli, with some form of goods in the near future. Just do that and you're good. Does give some interesting relatively historical background as well, so there is something in there for everyone on these ones. So the single player is essentially just it is story driven. The story's not bad. It does actually give you some fairly good insights. You do get to see what's going on, and it does draw you in. So it is something I am actually quite impressed with. It does keep your attention, and believe me that you will have, if you do like this kind of thing, you'll be picking up many hours of just whiling away watching these. But that does lead me to my one sort of issue with it. So with your trading fleets, or convoys as they were, um, got a couple of issues with how they work. So I've got my convoy here selected. Now you can have pretty much as many ships as you like in there. And at the moment I've got 5 ships in there. Now although all your ships are armed, they don't participate in combat unless you set them to be an escort. Now you're limited to a maximum of 3 escorts at any one time, so that's the most. So obviously you sort of optimize them and have the most strongest battle ones to be there. But you know, we've got various pirates and raiding parties throughout the Mediterranean. There are quite a few dangers, whatever, so you do be careful with that. Pirates are generally a lot stronger than most of your forces are going to be, so you do want to sort of stack them up. You can choose to ignore the combat, you just forfeit any cargo you're carrying, but yeah, at least your ships will survive to live another day. So, being restricting to only 3, yeah, I get that it's there so you only have to worry about the escorts, so it only limits the length of the combat's going to take, because it is sailing ships after all. But I just feel that they miss something. You know, you can't really have the sort of epic battles of, like, you know, if you have like 10 ships in a convoy, then you know, you're not all going to be fighting each other. And if you do, by the way, you just saw that just there. So what happened just there was one of my convoys, which didn't have any escorts enabled, got attacked by pirates, and they automatically just surrender all their goods. That was probably this guy down here. Now, your cities will sort of show what they need. Now, my other issue that I do sort of have with it is the automated trading mechanism. Now, the automated trading mechanism is, yeah, for anyone who's played another sort of simulation like this, like maybe something like Anno 2070 or Anno 1440, the great thing is that you could set on, when you did the automated route, you could actually say, okay, so let's have a look at this one. So the route that this convoy is on at the moment, so they're going, same for Venice, going through cities that I've sort of claimed and various other ones, and just selling their goods on, just crossing through, just basically doing a tour of the Mediterranean. Alright, now in other ones that I've played, you've been able to buy local products. So if there's something that you need, just say, yep, on that thing I need you to buy this, just go for it. Unfortunately though, not in this one. So, which is a bit counterintuitive considering it's like a trading empire sort of game, but anyway. So, in a city that you have a warehouse in, so you're actually producing goods of your own in that city, you can unload any raw materials for the advanced structures you need there and sell any goods to that you've got on board for that city to need. You can also then load any raw materials that your other cities on the route will need and load goods for sale throughout the rest of the voyage. But you go to a city that you don't control, all you can do is sell. You can't buy anything. So when you first start this game in Venice, the only things you can produce are oil and fruit, but you need wood, you need grain, you need bread, you need all these other things. And the only way to do that is manually send a fleet and manually trade. So that's sort of my only little problem with this. If this is a game about trading and trading simulation, you kind of lost a pretty critical point there, I think. But yeah, that's my fundamental problem with it. Otherwise the overall experience has been really, really good. It's very quick and easy to pick up, and then from once you picked it up, you can actually go through and use it quite effectively. So it's easy to pick up, but it is quite difficult to master. So getting back to the thing, so when you do have the ability to make stuff, so we'll just click on Zara, so there's a principality there. So what I've got here is once I've produced my warehouse there, so this is able to produce lumber, produce pottery, metal, meat, and honey. So you've got to, so I just built a few of those ones, so it keeps me going through. So I mean, later on it gets a lot easier to manage these things, but when you first start out, yeah, you're going to be doing a lot of clicking, a lot of trading manually. As with a lot of these sort of simulation games, you've got to keep an eye on things like people's happiness. So, are they educated? Are they going to die from plague? Have you got enough room in your storehouses to actually store the stuff you're producing? And have you got enough workers to actually be able to go to work and actually make shit for you? So, it is more complex than just a basic go here, sell this, buy this, and you've won. There's more than that. So that's where we're at with that. So as I said, my overall thing, it's not bad. Now what I might do, I might see if I can quickly show you some combat, but I may not. What I might do, guys, I might just jump to a different save game and do that. Bear with us a second while we do that. Alright folks, so I found one. We're about to go into some combat, but it gives me a quick chance just to show off again sort of what we're talking about with the convoys and stuff like that. So with my, so after just what I was saying before, I've got a one that's just simply just combat, and this is what it is. This is what it's there for. So in, alright, come on. So this one you can see it's got the overall strength is it's got 3 ships in it. It's 105 because it's combat strength. That's how much stuff it can carry, how many cannons it has, how many crew that you can actually put on. So they will work without the extra crew, but having the extra crew on means that your weapons reload faster. You can board the enemy ships and stuff like that. So it does add a lot more dimensions to the game as well. It's not just, you know, like some of the other, what few sort of ships games that do involve sort of sailing ship combat, do sort of skip a lot of things out. So right now the mission for this one is that we need to find a suspicious convoy that's raiding vessels throughout Mediterranean, being Croni and Naples. So, or Napoli as it is in Italian, but anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can find out. Now while your enemy ships are in visual range, you get to see the colours of them, the shields. So you do have like 4 competitors that are also vying for domination of the area. Then what you can do here is you can then sort of sail along. Oh, here we are. Okay, now the one with the golden star, that's the one we want to hunt down. So let's go into combat here. Here we go. Okay. So like a lot of these sort of games, you do have the option of just going automated, or you can do it manually. So we'll show you manually. Now, one of the cool, now this particular objective you have here in this one is that you actually have to capture the ships. So, alright, there we go. There's a bit of a thing there. Okay, so now you can change your ammunition types. Now we want to sort of slow them down, so we're going to change to some chain shot. Right there. Change our direction while we recharge. So you guys, it is reasonably good in the fact that you can sort of control a lot of things here. So we're going to go sort of close to this guy. Broadside. Come back around for him. So obviously you want to try and get close to him so you can actually board him, but the cannons seem to be really good. You can reef your sails so you can slow down. Fire off again. Then what you can do eventually, we'll change to canister shots. We can do a bit of trying to get rid of some of their crew. So we can sort of see their crew and their health going down a little bit. So we're slowing down a bit. We can go and salvage him. So what we'll do now is we might release off another salvo. Now your other guys will sort of keep fighting in the background. And you can sort of keep an eye on them as they do that. So we've got all a high adventure on the high seas. So as I said, very reminiscent of Tropico's sort of graphic style, which is quite nice as well. So now we've got their crew down a bit. What we might do is we might change to a boarding action. So you've got the red rings while you're sort of getting ready with the weapon that you've chosen. Now you've got to get into that little square and stay in there until it goes red. So we missed that one up. This is why you want to sort of like knock their sails down if you can. So there we go. Go there, and you got a little thing where we win that one. Alright, off we go. So we might go and help out other guys. So you can switch between the other ships as well as you go through. So he's already got down to slowing him down. Still got some crew on there.
Welcome aboard.
That one, there we go. We'll go around one more time. Come through with some canister shot again. So I do appreciate the fact that they sort of do use all the different ammunition and stuff that was actually there. So reef our sails and slow us down a bit.
Welcome aboard. We're ready.
Important to slow down and try and get on board them.
They lost something.
There we go. And we've beaten them again. Fantastic. And now we just got one left.
Now they're undermanned.
Right, so they're well and truly dismasted there, I think. So we'll go in for another bit of canister shot. So yeah, it is pretty good. Like, I do like this naval combat that they've put through it. I think that it's one of the best. That it's one of the like easiest to grasp, and yet still able to be fun and something that you want to actually go and do, and you don't want to just leave the AI to do it. So many of these sort of games, you just want to go, oh, it's just so rubbish, I just want the AI to do it. But these ones are pretty cool. So, just nearly done. So, nice effects, and let's change to boarding. Reef our sails a bit, because I don't think we're going to need them much longer. And see, like, even the reefing actually does take time to actually do. It's not like you just like simply stop and just a nice feel when you don't have to worry, you know, like with the whole, you know, click a button and missiles come out. And the sharks around the dead bodies, that's a nice touch as well. I love it. Alright, here we go. This should wrap this up, I think. So, yeah, the combat is pretty good. And there we are. We won our naval combat. There you go. And you get also the post summary screen, that kind of fun stuff as well. So there you go. Look, so folks, I think as I was saying before, it's
anyone who comes from a port city knows that rats are adaptable and always find a way to.
So as I was saying before, you get these sort of, you know, when you do certain mission objectives, you get ones next from stuff like that. Which leads me to one last little thing as well, which is a cool little thing. I think the last time I saw this was the original Rome Total War, I think. I don't know if I didn't see it in the later ones, but when you actually go into your home city, you can actually go into, so you can do little side missions like, you know, tavern. So you can get someone to go and not assassinate, but, you know, denunciate and say, you know, that they use a sheep as a pet, they keep a sheep as a pet, or, you know, they were seen philandering with the lady of the night, or you can bribe someone so that they can't enter a city and do any trading for a small amount of time. So, or you can make your opponent's stock disappear. So it's the little intrigue things that are pretty cool. Now, the other one that I did want to show, which is the one that I hadn't seen, I'm pretty sure, since Rome Total War, is your family tree. So it's all about the weddings, the marriage, and marrying into money, and, you know, trying to elevate your status in the world, or in the Renaissance world. So to do that, it's part of the thing where you're doing when you're actually going forward and doing the whole getting on the Council of 10 and moving your way up through the social ranks, is that eventually you will actually marry into one of those families. So that's why you're trying to get those families. And you can also send family members, have different professions, and they can actually go and do things for you. So, for example, if there's a plague in one of your cities, you can actually send your brother along who's a doctor. Your uncle, he's a captain on one of your ships. You've got someone, this one's pretty good because you can actually then go through and go, your influence with the family is increased for 3 weeks. So if you need to get them over the line to vote you up to an upgrade, or get you into something else, or you want to marry one of their kids, then this is what you need to do. So, there you go. Alright folks, well that wraps up my little first impressions of Rise of Venice. Overall, as I said, it's a game that if you like this kind of simulation, you like this kind of economy building, it is going to steal a lot of time away from you. I was a bit dubious when I first picked it up and I first played it through, but it hooked me in, and before I knew it, I'd played quite a few hours of this one. So, well folks, I hope you've enjoyed this little video. If you've got any questions or any comments, don't forget to like and subscribe and post your comments and questions down underneath the video here. Well folks, that's been me done for today. Back on deck again, so thank you very much. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.